Let's still stick with football news. Amajita's long wait to reach another Africa Cup of Nations final is finally over. The South African under-20 national team reached their second final in 28 years after narrowly beating their bitter rivals Nigeria 1-0 in the semi-finals of the AFCON in Egypt last night. So Amajita will now face Morocco in this year's final on Sunday. Khanyiso Tshwaku is a News 24 sports journalist and commentator, and he now joins us via our video link. A very good afternoon to you, Khanyiso. Thank you so much for making time for us. Maybe let's just start off with that, just in terms of talking about Amajita and this historic qualification. The last time they did that was in 1997. How have you made of their campaign so far?
Good evening, Tony. Good evening to the viewers. Look, it's very important in that you want to have building blocks for future tournaments. I mean, we're still awaiting what the decision is regarding the fielding of Tebogo Mokoena in the Lesotho game. But you realize to qualify for World Cups, you need to be in a position to ensure that your junior teams are doing so too. Then the 17s are going to the World Cup. Then the 20s are going to the World Cup, and South Africa, when the men's national team, when they remaining games, they will also be going to the World Cup. So ideally, what you really want as a federation is not just for your men's national team to be heading in that direction, but you also want your junior national teams to be going in that direction, because it actually prepares them for continental battles that is coming. Because some of those players are going to be the ones who are going to graduate from those junior national teams into the national teams. And by the time they get into the national team, they will be in a position to know and understand what it takes to qualify for a World Cup, because they would have done it before as junior players.
Absolutely. And of course, now I want us to now move to the domestic football side of things. Mamelodi Sundowns have been in a league of their own in the Betway Premiership. And of course, when we look at Coach Miguel Cardoso, he also came into this team and maintained their standards, which was set by Coach Rulani and Coach Pitso. What have you made of Cardoso's Sundowns? And do you feel that teams still fear the league champions?
Well, look, I think fear is a very big word, but they still have a lot of catching up to do. I mean, Sundowns have won the league. Pirates still have games in hand. And even when they win all the games, Pirates can only finish on 67 points. That'll tell you how well Sundowns have played, with the fact that they've actually put in a lot of work, won in the cup competitions. They reached the final of a qualifying knockout, eliminated the semi-finals of the MTN 8, reached the semi-finals of the Nedbank Cup. They're in the finals of the CAF Champions League. So it's not they've been taking every other tournament for granted. They've been giving the all in every tournament. So yeah, the fact that you need to remember that they changed the coach mid-season and they're still winning the league at a can't. So it will tell you that the systems in place, the players in place, the conditioning, the tactical periodization is absolutely immense for Mamelodi Sundowns, in that they were able to change a coach mid-season and still win the league at a can't, still be participating in a CAF Champions League final. It'll tell you how much of a gap they have between the sides. Yes, one could say that Pirates, under the former coach Jose Ribeiro, have mastered the art of reaching cup finals, winning 5 of them before losing last week's one against Kaizer Chiefs. But the true measure, the true mark of a team is the ability to last the season through 28 games a season, 30 in most seasons, and also being able to participate to a high level in the CAF tournaments. So Sundowns have again set a high bar that only they can pass, but also set a high bar for the other teams to aspire to next season.
No, absolutely. And before we speak about that final, which is imminent against Pyramids, we know that for Sundowns, they've also been quite efficient in their recruitment. The club has had strong structures all round. Do you believe that really this has been the key to their success?
Yes, but you see, one of the things that Sundowns have sorted out since the start of Pitso Moseman's tenure back in 2012 was to sort out the football department, because Sundowns have never not lacked for money. And I think they've never always had the right people in the right place to sort out the football department. And over the past 13 years, they've gone a long way in sorting that out. Yes, one could say that Chiefs and Pirates are producing possibly the better youngsters at the moment, and they're giving them a better opportunity. But Sundowns have clearly cut themselves out as a top-end team that will develop its own players, but also has enough money to get the best players from other teams and gel them into a very good side. And also remember that Sundowns, what they've done so well, and I think better than everyone else so far, is the exports in particular. If you look at the players that they procured from South America in particular, You look at the Lucas Ribeiro, you look at the impact he's made this season, you look at how well Arthur Salles has come along this season, you look at how Marcelo Allende has become such an important figure for the Mamelodi Sundowns side. And they're not the first South Americans to excel. There have been some that they've got, they haven't actually hit the mark, but the ones that they've tended to find so far have been absolutely magnificent. So it's not just the financial muscle that Sundowns has, also the recruitment and the complete top-down structure of their football department that's put them in a very good space at the moment.
No, absolutely. And of course, now the CAF Champions League final looms. Do you believe that Sundowns will be able to add a second star against this pyramid side that is also looking to make their own history by winning it for the first time?
They should, but it's not going to be easy. Pyramids is a very good side. I mean, look, they do play a brand of chaotic football that even if you have a lot of structure, it does become quite difficult to maintain. But look, again, a lot hinges on what Sundowns does at home when they play that Loftus Versfeld next week, Saturday. Because I think if they are able to get a result and make sure that they just don't concede, because what saved Sundowns in the Al Ali game was even though they were in a position where it was challenging for them in terms of a goalless draw, they did not concede at home, and that was a price disadvantage when they went to their away game. Again, so it's going to become very important for Mamelodi Sundowns in particular to ensure that as they travel to Cairo for the return leg on the 1st of June, just to keep a clean sheet. Even if they don't score, just to keep a clean sheet, because that then puts a lot more pressure on the home side to ensure that, one, they score, but two, they don't concede any goals. So Sundowns just not concede, but if they're able to score, was something that was a bit beyond their remit in the semi-final against Al Ahly, a very defensively organized Al Ahly side. I don't think Pyramids have the kind of defensive organization that Al Ahly has, but it's going to be interesting to see when that game rolls around next week Saturday.
No, absolutely. And of course, in terms of those pictures that we were showing you, that is our Amajita side. And they were playing Nigeria, of course, in that semi-final where we saw Tylen Smith scoring that all-important goal. But Khanyiso, before I let you go, I would really like us to talk about the events that took place this week. And in terms of the rugby fraternity losing the former Springbok winger, Cornell Hendricks, a couple of days ago. As someone who would you have covered him when he was with the Springboks, the Cheetahs, the Bulls, what will you remember of this man, that a lot have described as a true gentleman of the sport?
He's a true gentleman. His nature as a human being transcended what he did brought to the game. I mean, he lived life on his own terms. I mean, you don't get a lot of players who, when they are pulled up by a medical practitioner for a heart defect, still find a way to go back and play rugby at a very high level. That spoke of the bravery that Cornell Hendricks had. It spoke of wanting to live his life on his own terms. So when those news came, which is very, very, very sad. I mean, at 37, he still had quite a fruitful life ahead of him. One feels for his wife and his 3 kids, because despite the fact that his rugby career had come to an end, he still had a lot to give to his family. He still had a lot to give to his game, to the game in particular. And at the end of the day, rugby is a short career that builds one for what they need to do for the rest of their lives. But what Cornell did in that particular space of time in his rugby career was absolutely amazing. It's just a pity now that you're unable to see it through. But I think when you look at him as a human being and the impact he had on his teammates and wherever he played, he left a lasting impact from an emotional perspective. And may his soul purposefully repose in peace.
No, absolutely, Khanyiso, very well said there. Thank you so much always for your insights. That's Khanyiso Tshwaku, a News 24 sports journalist and commentator. He was joining us via video link to talk all things Amajita, Sundowns, and of course the unfortunate passing of the former Springbok wing, Cornell Hendricks. But that's where we'll leave it from the sports desk for SA Today.